Okay. Let's start with the first presentation that will be introduction. The first thing to know is that we are talking about research writing is a big domain. It is a big scientific domain, and if you are just focused on what we need to publish, let's say an article, a proposal, a thesis, or a book, scientific book, we have many things to do, to learn. So I don't think hours will be enough. But I've make sure to summarize it as well as possible. But summarizing it doesn't mean that it won't be rich. No, it will be rich. It will be rich, and maybe if you really enjoy this training session, you can see how to go deeper in the future. So, what is research? If we knew what it was we were doing, it will not be called research. This is from Albert Einstein. It means that if we are talking about research, if we are have the intention to start a research, it's because we are looking for something that we don't know. And since we don't know it, we will make sure to choose a path that will help us to get what we want to know. And in this point, we are talking about knowledge because we are in a scientific research. So, how to find the answer to the world? But as I was saying, research is to looking for something. So if you want to be more precise, is you can say maybe research is how to find answers to the world or how to find answers to our environment, including everything. As example, I've chosen two questions. Why an infant is crying in a playpen? Why a laptop has suddenly stopped working after working fine for a while? You can bring an author calling René Descartes. I think most of us, we know him. That was saying that we must doubt about anything. We must doubt about anything. It means that we must question everything because everything is questionable. And this is the foundation of research. So, answering to those questions, let's say that research can only be and simply stand like search for problem solution. And how are we going to manage this short search, please? The search will be based on key point, experience, reasoning, and research itself. Experience is related to, I was saying, introduce my word, knowledge, know-how, or skills that are accumulated through involvement in previous events or activities. Let me stop here for a bit. Experience doesn't only mean that I've been working for 10 years. Experience can also be only knowledge. If I've learned how to do something, I got an experience on this thing or on this domain. more than someone would never try it. So this is why they say it could be knowledge, know-how, or skills that are accumulated through involvement in previous events or activities. Are also a way to search for problem solution, reasoning. It is the mentally cognitive process of looking for reasons or beliefs for conclusion, actions, and feeling. What I want us to understand here is mentally cognitive process of looking for reasons. For me, the most important here is the word process. Reasoning is a process, and then research. For research, we have further details in further development. There are two forms of reasoning. We have deductive reasoning and inductive reasoning. For deductive reasoning, it's when a conclusion is drawn from conceived premises, from the general, the specific, through a sequence of formal steps of logical development. The structure here is we are moving from hypothesis and looking for implication behind. For inductive reasoning, it's inferring probable antecedent as a result of observing multiple consequences. Structure here will be from the observation, we are going to make hypotheses. If people are not understanding well, they can take note so that I will come back to explain it clearly, but I won't stop every time on every concept so that we are not going to finish. So they can come back with question later. Now, both experience and reasoning have their own deficiencies. The method should be such that the ultimate conclusion of every man shall be the same. Such is the method of science. Its fundamental hypothesis is this: they are real things whose character are entirely independent of our opinion about them. So what we are trying to say here is that experience and reasoning are not by their own sufficient to achieve the research or to find solutions on problems. So, to summarize, what is research? Research could be the systematic, controlled, empirical, and critical investigation of hypothetical propositions about the presumed relation among natural phenomena. It could also be seeking through methodical process to add one's own body of knowledge and hopefully to that of others by the discovery of non-trivial facts and insight. Then research is also an active and intellectual process, systematically conducted in pursuit of knowledge which is grounded in rigorous and controlled method and can be replicated, verified, or falsified by others. This last point for me is the most important because we are still on the idea of process, active and intellectual process. That goal is pursuit of knowledge, but they are putting rules to control this process, and the rules will be here like the way of being rigorous and control of the method that can be replicated, verified, or falsified by others. It means it's just not because you made a research that would be a sustainable one. You can make a research, but if it was not sustainable, first it won't be replicated and not verified. So they will not call this one a scientific research. Then it's important here to make some difference between a practitioner and a researcher. Here I have chosen the management researcher orientation as an example because I did some research in management. You will see management researcher, when you take about their focus of interest, you see that the management researcher will rely on basic understanding, while practitioner will be on usable knowledge. While when management researcher will be looking for general enlightenment, practitioner will look for experiment. When the first one will be on theoretical explanation, the second will be on practical problem solution. The researcher will ask about why knowledge. The practitioner will be on how to knowledge. The researcher will build substantive theory, but the practitioner will use local theory. Even in methodological imperative, for the researcher, it will be theoretical and methodological rigor. The practitioner will be running about time. The key outcome for the researcher will be academic publication. That is maybe our interest here. And the practitioner, it will be about actionable results with practice impact. So if I just stop here, we will see the difference between a practitioner and a researcher. Because sometimes people will think that if we are in the same domain, like civil engineering, a civil engineer may not be a researcher in the civil engineering domain. So it was important for me here to explain the difference. And we will also understand it when we talk about policy writing and training. We'll make some difference because in most of the African country and society now, everyone is talking about policy. But not everyone is really able to make good analysis about it. Can also make a basic and apply research. I will not stop there for too long, unless that someone may ask a question. But let's say that for basic research, we have the purpose could be expand knowledge of processes and business and management. For applied research, it improve understanding of a particular business or management problem. The context in basic research will be undertaken by people based in universities. But in applied research, it will be undertaken by people based in variety of settings, including organization and universities. Let's just summarize it by basic research is strict and reserved to university and academic environment, while applied research is more large and can be applied to more than universities environment. Okay, we are seeing in the introduction. So this is the research process. It will be very difficult for a student or a researcher to provide something really academic and really good to the scientific society without following this process. First, you must have a wish to do research. I think your wish to do research is the reason why you are attending this training. And then you must formulate and clarify your research topic. If you have the wish to do the research, you must formulate and clarify your research topic. For example, if I want to say my topic is human hair in Cameroon, this topic you will see, for example, for some scientific, it will have one meaning. For some others, depending on the domain, it will have another meaning. In medicinal study, it will be about talking about genetic maybe, but in law studies, it will be maybe about human body integrity principle protection. So as a lawyer, I can say, if say human hair in Cameroon, I can say, okay, to clarify this result topic is maybe to try to explain that our law doesn't allow to sell human body or part of the body, but women can still buy and sell human hair. So I will close this bracket here. I guess you understand what formulate and clarify your research topic. Why is it important? And then when that one is done, you need to move on critical review literature. Critical review of literature means that you need to review what other expert authors have been written in the domain you want to make your research. You can't make a research without knowing what has been done before you. Otherwise, maybe you will be saying silly things, or you will be saying something that someone else already did. After literature review, you need to understand your own philosophy and your own approach. To say it very lightly is you need to have your own point of view, your own orientation. Like, where am I going? What do I need to prove? When that one is okay, can formulate your research design. Negotiate, then you will negotiate access and address critical issues. When all of these are okay, you can now plan your data collection and collect data using one or more method. Sampling, secondary data, observation, semi-structure, and in-depth and group interviews, questionnaire. It depends on you. When you're already collecting your data, you need to analyze them using either quantitative method or qualitative method, or both of them. It depends on your domain, on your research topic and on your data also. After this analysis of your data, you can write your project report and prepare your presentation. So this is our introduction. I don't know if it has helped you clarify, make the general statement of what we are going to develop. So with your permission, I will go to the second part of our presentation, or maybe before going there, if you have some question on this first part, this introduction, we can discuss about this first one, and then I can go further, because I also believe sometimes if you are just going deeper and deeper on a presentation, people can get lost. So I'm asking to the moderator, what do you think? Should we continue and wait and just take the question at the end, or we can take question after each presentation?
Chris, I would suggest we can just take 1 or 2 questions before we can continue, so we can just break the silence a little bit.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Questions?
So anyone can turn on his microphone and ask his question.
I'm sorry I came late and I am lost. So concerning the research writing, can you just give a recap on the basic research, because I'm a gender advocate, and how can I come up with a research topic, especially, for example, if I'm working in a community,
Yes.
how can I come up with a simple research that will be easily
Yes.
understandable for everyone?
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for your question. Your question is very interesting, and the first thing you need to know: research is a research. For you, it could appear like a simple research. That research will provide an information so important that it may save people's life, mostly because you are in humanitarian activities. Okay, now let's go through to your question. Your question is, how can you find a topic that you can develop as a research? Is it true? I want to be sure that I resume your question very well before starting answering it. She's not with us. And turn on your microphone. Turn on your.
Okay, I'm here.
Yes, I was asking, am I resume your question very well? I was saying that you want to know how to find a topic in order to develop a research in your domain, right?
Okay, so I have the topic, but how to develop
Yes.
the research?
Okay. How to develop the research? This is what we are going to learn. This is what we are going to learn. in details, but to answer to you according to this general statement in the introduction, let's say that first, if you have your topic, it means there is something that you don't know and that you need to know. As when you were not there, I gave some question as an example. Why an infant is crying in a playpen? Let's assume that this could be a topic. So let's say that the topic is an infant is crying in a playpen. The question that will come here is, why is it crying? You see, if you have that question, they will say, we don't know. We have many hypotheses. Maybe he's crying because of this, maybe he's crying because of that. And those hypotheses will bring you here to build reasoning. So, how to build your reasoning? You can use two forms. This is what I guess you miss. Deductive reasoning is when you are drawing a conclusion from a premise. You will go from the general to the specific. For example, let me stay in our case. An infant is crying a playpen. This is your topic. The question is, why is he crying? The reasoning you can bring your hypothesis. Maybe he fell down and hurt himself. This is my hypothesis. The implication could be what? The implication could be, oh, he fell down. This is my hypothesis. And the implication is maybe he hurt himself or he get his toy broken. You see, I move from hypothesis to reasoning to implication, hypothesis to implication. That will help me. Or I can also say, I observe that an infant is crying. If he is crying, my hypothesis is that maybe he lost something, or maybe he's looking for his mother. This one will be inductive reasoning. So when I have a topic and start building a reasoning is what will bring me to the way or to the path of research. Because if I just thought of it, maybe the infant is crying because he's looking for his mother. What am I going to do? I will start looking for his mother. And how am I going to look for his mother? Maybe I will ask two people. Maybe I will communicate with some police agent and so on. This is basic, but this is research. I don't know your topic in gender, but if you assume that in one area, most of the young girl stop going to school at 13 years old. This is my observation. And this is my topic. Ladies, young ladies, maybe in Bamako or in Yaoundé are not going to school after 13 years old. My hypothesis is this one. Maybe because at this age, the law allow them to get married, and they look at marriage as a salvation. And then I will start questioning how, why, what. We will see all of this further. So I don't know if I help you to get, if I clarify your question, but further you have more answer. Thank you. Another question, please. someone wants to ask a question after this first presentation, he can proceed by turning on his microphone. If you don't have any other question, you can go to the second one. This one was just an introduction. Okay. If no question, I assume that we can proceed. Thank you. Okay. Here we will talk about formulating and clarifying the research topic. I think this particular presentation will be very interesting for the first question we have. So I welcome the lady Agnes to listen very carefully, and the other, of course.
Hello,
Okay.
Chris. We
Yes.
can see
Yes.
your screen. We still have the first presentation.
Oh, okay. Let me remove it.
Thank you.
Now, let me share my screen again. Okay. Is it okay here?
Yes.
Okay. So I was saying this second presentation will be about formulating and clarifying the research topic. As outlined, we have 4 points, 4 major points. First one is attribute of a good research topic, generating and refining research ideas, turning research ideas into research project, writing research proposal. There is a quote here, being reflexive as a researcher. That one just means a researcher must be reflexive. Okay. Attribute of a good research topic. There are many, but I summarize them into 2 groups. The first group is a good research topic must have some capability. The question here will be, is it feasible? So, is the question related will be like, is the topic something with which you are really fascinated? Do you have or can you develop within the project time frame necessary research skills to undertake the topic? Is the research topic achievable within the available time? Will the topic still be current when you finish your project? Is the topic achievable within the financial resources that are likely to be available? Are you reasonably certain of being able to gain access to data you are likely to require for this topic? Talking about capability or feasibility, I think when you are listening to those questions, it's very clear. If I just say, are you really fascinated about your own topic? Agnes was saying something very important while asking her question. She said, I'm involved on gender domain. It means that she got a passion. She's fascinated by this domain. But now try to imagine, she's working on this domain. She likes this domain. She has studied it. But when it's come to choose a research topic, she will just say, okay, I want to be a research topic in nuclear fusion. That one will be difficult. Also, if I take another point, Are you reasonably certain of being able to gain access to data you are likely to require for this topic? For example, if you are a civil engineer working in a construction project, can you use your topic in this particular domain and particular project? Because you know it will be very easy for you to access data in this particular project. But sometimes, if you want maybe to make some research on defense and security, you already know that you are not military. So it will be very difficult for them to cross you and to give you the data you need. So we are talking about feasibility here. Now, appropriateness. Is it worthwhile? Does the topic fit the specification and meet the standards set by the examining institution? Does your topic contain issues that have a clear link to theory? Are you able to state your research question, aim, and objectives clearly? Will your proposed research be able to provide fresh insight into this topic? Does your topic relate clearly to the idea you have been given, perhaps by an organization? Are the findings for this topic likely to be symmetrical, that is, of similar value, whatever the outcome? Does the topic match your career goals? I like this last question. The same thing. You are working in the football development, but your topic is talking, I don't know, about agriculture. If you have a link that, okay, it can match your career goals, okay, you can go. But yeah, asking if your topic, your result is worthwhile is just to be sure that your research will be benefit to the vision and the orientation you have for yourself or for your community. Now, after choosing your research topic, you need to generate research idea. You will do it by examining your own strength and interest, looking at past project titles, discuss people, searching existing literature, scanning the media, keeping a notebook of your ideas, exploring personal preferences, using past project, relevance quiz, brainstorming, or you can also use the Delphi technique. I've tried to summarize the Delphi technique. Using a Delphi group, Tim explained to the group that his research idea was concerned with understanding the decision-making processes associated with mortgage application and loan advances. His briefing to the three other group members and the questions that they asked him considered aspects such as particular situation of potential first-time house buyer, the way in which the nature of contact between potential borrowers and financial institutions might influence decision making. The group then moved on to generate a number of more specific research ideas, amongst which were the following. First, the effect of being a first-time house purchaser on mortgage application decision-making, the effect of websites and mobile apps that facilitate property searching and links to mortgage specialists and decision making, the effect of interpersonal contact on mortgage decision, the attributes that potential applicants look for in financial institution operating in the mortgage market. We'll just stop here to show that in the Delphi technique is that you can have an idea and then you move your community or to your organization and start a discussion with them in that particular idea. And through this discussion, you will have many people coming out with their own point of view. From their point of view, you can build your own research idea because their point of view is based on their experience and observation of their environment. Another point is integrating ideas. You can do it by walking up and narrowing down in order to have a clear direction. It's, as we were saying in the beginning, trying to check the general statement or the general idea and then going down the specific one. Then we help you to turn research ideas into research project. And after that, research question must be the center of your research project. When you have, after research idea that you have provide a research project, question like what, when, where, who, why, how must be the compass that will lead your research project. So after you have your research project or research topic, if you want, you must build, as I was saying, research or research questions. I've given some example on how to look for research, research ideas and result to research question. For example, research idea, media campaign following product recalls. Research question here could be how effective a media campaign designed to increase consumer trust in a company following a series of product recalls. Another one is graduate recruitment via the internet. To what extent and in what type of context is internet-based recruitment and selection of graduate effective and why? Now let me take another one that is not in that table, but that is very simple. They say your research idea, let's say, is Africa is the future. This is my research idea. And research question could be, what are the criteria that can sustain the idea of Africa being the leader of this world in the future? What you must understand here is that the research question must come strictly from the statement you have given in your research idea. Don't give a research idea and then bring a research question that is very far from the research idea. When you are done with your research question, you can now provide your research aims and objectives. Let me remind you that an aim is a brief statement of the purpose of the research project, while objectives are the steps taken to the aim. Objectives are what am I going to do or to use to reach my goal, my aim. And when you have your aim, objective, like you already know where you want to go, you need to give your hypothesis. An hypothesis could be defined as a tentative proposition which is subject to verification through subsequent investigation. It may also be seen as the guide to the researcher in that it depicts and describes the method to be allowed and studying the problem. In many cases, hypotheses are hunches that the researcher has about the existence of relationship between variables. If I remain in my idea of Africa is the future, I will say my goal is to prove by fact and elements that African will be the leader in this world in the future. Objectives here will be who brings out any argument from any domain to sustain my position. The hypothesis here will be this one. I could say Africa got the richest natural resources the world needs. So, hypothetically, in the future, if Africa decide, in the future, Africa will control the world market of gold, for example. This is why I'm saying Africa is the future. I guess here you understand my hypothesis. Now, I need to prove that in the future, Africa will control gold world market. How? This is what we are going to see later. This is why they say you need to make a tentative proposition which is subject to verification through subsequent investigation. So saying that Africa will be world leader in gold production at this rate is very it's just a proposition. It's just a statement. But with investigation, I will bring data to sustain that hypothesis. Okay, let's talk about a good hypothesis, because there are some hypotheses. Hypothesis must not just be general statement. Good hypothesis must be clear on whether it is directional or non-directional in a testable form, in a way that makes it clear how the researcher will design an experiment or survey the test the hypothesis, or a survey to test the hypothesis in a form that can yield measurable results. Equation. This is an example I'm giving. Does temperature affect fermentation? Conditional statement. Temperature may affect fermentation. Then, if fermentation rate is related to temperature, then increasing the temperature will increase gas production. So one has to be prepared to use several hypotheses in order to catch the complexity of the phenomenon being researched. Null hypothesis. There is no relationship between two variables, or that there has been no difference between two variables on a certain respect. So an hypothesis will be null if there is no relation between two variables. For example, in our example, we're talking about temperature and fermentation. Let's imagine that we are talking about temperature and stone. For example, maybe the hypothesis you are going to build, you can't create a good relationship between those two variables. You also have alternative hypotheses. When there is a correlation between two variables, or that there has been no difference between two variables on a certain aspect. The alternative hypothesis is often supported when the null hypothesis is not supported. So here is also like null hypothesis, but sometimes in another aspect, the two variables can have a correlation. Okay. Here we are talking about writing research proposal, but I won't stay here for long because I'm not sure all of you are here to write proposal. I think maybe you are more interested on articles, but it was important for me to show because it's the same structure. But let's assume that a proposal or a thesis will be more huge, more large than an article. And the difference will not be on the methodology, but on the size. When on a proposal, you need to be at least 10,000 word, and thesis will be 25, 30, or 50,000. For an article, it could be from 2,000 and 5,000 words, but the structure is the same. You need to have those elements to have a good research proposal, no matter what you are writing. An appropriate literature, good theory, research philosophy and approach, a good methodology, data collection and analysis. We were talking before, good research strategy, time frame, ethical issues. You have also a checklist that can guide and evaluate your research proposal or your research. Have I explained what am I going to do? Have I explained why I am doing this? Have I said why it is worth doing? Have I explained how it relates to what has been done before in my subject area? Have I stated which theory and theories will inform what I'm going and how I will use it for them? Have I stated my research question, research aim, my research objective? Have I outlined how I will conduct my research? Have I outlined my research design? Have I outlined what data I need? Have I stated who and where my intended participants are? Have I explained how I will select my participants? Have I explained how I will gain access? Have I outlined how I will collect my data? And so on. So for this second presentation, I think we are done. So we can come back to for the question if you have some question. But I think also unless that we will not have too much question, but for this part we must have many questions because this is where research start. If someone want to start the research, what we have been talking about is very important. And
I have
how
a
am I going to
question.
write specific? Yes, please.
Okay, Mr. Chris. Well, I think well, let's say um I'm not good at research, but I actually want to execute a project in a community. Is it advisable for me to look for a researcher? We go down to the field, or is it advisable to okay, so is it advisable for me to just give him the research topic, then he generates the hypothesis and implication?
Okay. Thank you for your question. Thank you for your question, and also it's good to be honest. It's good to be honest with yourself. But what I need to say about this is
Hello.
yes, yes, Wilson. Hello.
Wilson, we can hear you. Christopher, I just think you just continue.
Okay, let me
Wilson,
answer
you
to
can
one
write your
yesterday.
question in chat.
Hello.
Yes, we can hear
Okay.
you now.
Yes, Wilson, we can hear you.
Yeah, good day. Hello.
Yes, Wilson, good morning.
Yeah, good morning. I have a quick question.
Yes.
I don't know if you can get me. My network is so poor. Assume you are hired from all your presentation. I love your presentation, it's really good, but assume you are hired as a research assistant in a medical field or a medical institute. And let's say there is
Yes.
let's say there's cholera outbreak in I don't know where you are, but let's
Yes.
take a small locality somewhere in Yaoundé, in a small locality in Yaoundé, and
Yes, I get you. Yes.
your officer asks you to do a presentation on or to write to give a research topic on the cholera outbreak, of which they need to do a findings on it for using about in 3 hours time to do a presentation on cholera outbreak in
Yes.
3 hours time. Based on all the presentation you have given, how are you
Yes.
going to summarize? How are you going to summarize all what all what you have given? Because initially I thought of literally you're going to give a kind of a summary that will assist most people that are on the platform. I don't know about everybody, but I believe most people that are on the platforms are professionals, and some of us work with time in time frame, and
Yes.
not a lengthy time
Yes.
frame. Let's say about 4 hours, 8 hours in a day, and your officer entered your office and tell that you should give a research topic on you should present a research topic on the cholera outbreak that has just happened in one small locality. How are you going to do that based on all
Yes.
what you've given? Thank you.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Wilson. Your question is very interesting. I will come back. So please allow me to answer to Agnes. Okay, Agnes, we're asking about looking for a researcher or to do the research yourself while you don't consider yourself as a good researcher. You may know something is that even though you are looking for someone to do a particular task for you, you must know at least the basement of this task. Because if you are the person who is recruiting him and you don't know anything about research, maybe the guy will just come and pull out some crash and give it to you. It will be very difficult for you to monitor, to follow up, to analyze, to correct, appreciate his own work. Further, maybe today or another session, we will talk about plagiarism and the consequence. And this one also will be a good one for Wilson's questions. Because let's say you get me as a researcher, I don't really go to the field. I don't really make a good research. Maybe I will call 3 of my sisters. I will collect fake data. And then I will come. Let's say the example of Wilson. That, okay, cholera is just not far from Yaoundé main city or city hall. But if the crew is that maybe cholera is already moving out of central region of Cameroon. But we all know that cholera maybe are started at Post Central. But I didn't go for any investigation. I will come and say something. You see, if you don't know how to analyze a good data collection, you don't know how to analyze with a strict methodology, research point, it will be difficult for you. Another example, if I say in the medicinal area, as Wilson was saying, they say, okay, make a research and bring analysis, maybe about one disease that is disturbing people. The problem is the guy can go make some confusion because his literature review, his way of analyzing, his way of collecting data was not good. And he come, instead of talking about flu, instead of talking about COVID, we say no, just flu. But maybe the problem is deeper. This is why you need to understand it. Employing a researcher is a very good idea. You can't do everything by yourself. You can't know everything. But you need to know the basement. Because you will need, you may need, you must need to understand the data the guy will bring to you. That will help you to be a better manager. Okay, I don't know if my answer will satisfy you, but before your reaction, let me try to answer to Wilson because he's in a car, maybe he will be moving. Okay, Wilson. Wilson, I have summarized your question into the aspect of time. The aspect of time, like they ask you to make a point, a research point in 4 hours. In 4 hours, and you are asking yourself, is the methodology I'm giving and it will help you? The answer is totally yes, it will. Because if you remember what I said here, let me come back. What I said here, element of research proposal, or even what when I was talking about in the beginning, I don't know if you were there. I was talking about the way of reasoning. It's very important. Why? It's important because it could be your research area, could be a thesis, or it could be just a paper of 500 words. The structure or the element will almost be the same. Let me explain to myself. All of us, we went to school. In class, in secondary school, they were talking about essay. We say, okay, write an essay where you are talking about this, maybe this road accident. Essay was around 200 words, 300 words. After they were saying, okay, presentation, group presentation, almost topics were the same. But they say, okay, you are 10 students, so teacher will say, now I want 2,000 words. We're doing the same for the same thing. Let's go to university. You say, okay, your paper, 2,000 words. Now group presentation, 5,000 words. Your thesis, master's degree, or even, let's say, I start with your thesis, master's degree. They will say 10,000, 5,000 words. When it's come to PhD, they will say, okay, 30,000, 50,000 words. But if you go to a book, it will be as big as a thesis. If you come to an article, sometimes they will say, okay, 1,500 words. But what I want you to observe is that the topic are almost always the same. The difference will be on the development or the precision. If I come, I guess you are maybe okay in the medicine area. You say you are an assistant research. You agree with me that if they already appoint you as an assistant researcher, being on medicine or another one, it's because they know that your experience, your knowledge already got basement. You already got basement. And maybe you don't know, I don't think you don't notice, but you notice it. In the beginning, maybe when they give you, they want you to make a research point in 4 hours. As a young research assistant, it was something a bit difficult for you. You were running after colleague, after book, after ancient document. But now maybe after 5 years, 10 years experience, when they tell you you have 4 hours to provide it, I can bet that in 2 hours now, you are done. Do you know why you are done? Because all those elements that I'm talking about, the literature in your domain, even in your medicine domain, from your knowledge from school, you already got them. This is why you are going to school and to training. You already got the appropriate literature. This is why if I'm telling you that now, I don't feel good, you will be able to just, okay, what are the symptoms? When I will give you, will say, okay, that the Greek doctor were saying that sometimes a symptom can be this, but the disease is that. So according to his theory, if I mix it with another one, it means that when I hear your voice, the problem could be this. You want me to do like Agnes was asking, how am I going to choose my topic, my research topic? You already got all this background. This is why they call you, they give you, they appoint you as a research, as an assistant researcher. You already got the methodology. You already know how to collect your data and how to analyze them. And I even want to say something. If I open your computer now, I am sure you have most important data you need for any situation. I am sure you got in your office books and scientific journals. Because me talking, I've studied the business law and management. So in my office, I already got my book. I would say maybe I have like criminal law code, civil law code, Cameroonian constitution. It means that if they say, okay, I want you to make a research point in 2 hours, I will analyze the topic they are asking me to. I will look for the problem. I will make my hypothesis, and then I will verify them with my literature review that I already got in my head or close to me. I will collect my data, maybe by asking to some colleague, have you heard about this history before me? Did you receive such kind of work before me? Or I will check what we call in administration chrono. I will open one book, I will go to Google in 10 minutes, I'm done. I already know my methodology. And finally, I will write it. See? So I think a further way we talk about Gantt chart. Gantt chart, the way you can elaborate through your time frame. This is why I was talking earlier that when you are taking or choosing a topic, you must ask yourself, am I going to do it in the time frame? For example, if your boss asks you to make a research point or to answer to a research question related to how um, how to stop contamination by AIDS. It's not because he gave that order that you can do it in 4 hours. As a good research assistant, can tell him, boss, is not possible. It's not possible in 4 hours. But if he said 4 hours for something and you accept it, I believe and you believe, you know you already got everything necessary to do that task. So I don't know if I help you, but you need to know this methodology. You need to know this methodology in details, because even in our university, sometimes teachers are just running about into it. But if carefully you are able to listen to it very carefully, you will observe that you are already applying it. But now, with Wem'Afrika, we are giving you the opportunity to be more professional and precise. Thank you.
Chris, thank you very much. There's a lot of, I don't know what's happening, but many people complain about network issues. So that's why some come in and go out. I noticed that Wilson has left. I'm sure it's a connection. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share the recordings to the members so they can have access to it. Yeah, I think that will be enough.
Okay.
Any other question?
Okay. Then is there any other question? If there are questions, I can still take them. If they are not, and also they can send you question through message, even though they didn't listen. But if they have their question, maybe the issue, people got issue that they are facing, maybe they can also talk about it. They can send you a message so that you can read it, and I will try to provide an answer, because as Wilson was asking, his question is very important, because he wanted to know how to face a particular situation in his office. So if there are questions, I'm listening. If not, we still have 30 minutes, so I can try to continue.
Okay. Agnes, do you have any questions? Alika, you have any questions?
No, madam, I don't have any question for now. But when I will receive the recording, the questions we can ask.
Okay.
So can we continue?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Let me share my screen again. Okay. According to the question we had earlier, this part I will go a bit fast, because I think the last part can be more convenient for you. But this one is important also, talking about critically reviewing the literature is important. but we don't really have enough time. So I really hope that we will be lucky again to organize this presentation so that we can go further. Okay. As I said, literature review is all what has been done before you facing a particular problem. For example, if you have in front of you, I will remain in the example of medicine. In front of you, someone with symptoms of flu, and you are hesitating of him being just suffering about normal flu or COVID. You need to read, you need to check with other people, like other colleagues, other people in your domain. How did they face this issue before you? This is what we call literature review. So it will be critical review, literature sources, strategy, conducting literature obtaining and evaluating the literature, recording the literature, and the most important, avoid plagiarism. Even in your office, it's not because me, as Mr. Zibi, last year I faced a situation and I gave an analysis and it's a particular solution for this situation. This year, you will come and face a similar one, but similar, not exactly. Just copy and paste what I did. The thing is that, first, if I made a mistake, you will make the same mistake. If I didn't, and you just copy and paste the same. The problem is that in your case, it will be specific details that maybe will change everything for you. Okay. So you need to have skills for effective reading. Cultivate your skill for reading. Try to read. Read as much as possible. In any domain, it will help you. It will help to open your brain, your way of analyzing things, your critical thinking. Critical review, it means your literature review will help you to make critical analysis. That will help you to bring out clear argument about what the published literature indicates is known and not known about your research question. I said it before. You need to make sure that what you are reading, what you are writing even, has not been done before. Let's say as a medicinal doctor, don't go to a newspaper to get scientific information there. Because the newspaper can tell you that, dirty water will never give you cholera. You can say that, but they are not scientific. They never testify it. So you must make critical analysis. You must go to formal journals, scientific journals, books, scientific book. People will reference. For example, I'm making this presentation. You must make sure, maybe while I'm doing this or after, take my name, make some research about me. This is what we call critical analysis. Otherwise, I could be just someone who is no one, and who is just bring things from his brain. Can say exactly what I should not. So this is the literature review program. I will not stay there for long. Critical review, it can be integrative review, like critics and synthesize representative literature on a topic, and an integrative way to generate new frameworks and perspective on a topic. It could be historical review, theoretical review, methodological review. Methodological review, for example, this is what we are doing now. It's always good to review your way of working, of learning. It could also be systematic review. So how to evaluate the content of your critical review? There are many examples. Same here. The structure of the literature review. There is no single structure. This is what I was trying to say to Wilson, that literature review doesn't necessarily need that you must have books in your hands. It can be books, journals. How it can also be that the literature review is in your brain because you have been working in that particular domain for many years. You have been learning, studying it from university, for example. So uncritical listening of previous research, this is what you must avoid because this world is in constant evolution. So you must have annotated bibliography also. This is it. Yeah. Oh, sorry. This is the structure. This is the structure. Still the structure. Yeah, structure of literature review. We are not going to spend time here. Literature sources. You have primary literature sources can be produced all level of government, academics, business, industry, print, electronic format, all what I've been talking to. Secondary literature review being formally published items. We have sources, literature sources, journals, books, newspaper, report, conference, proceeding. Literature strategy. Those one also depending of your area. You must define parameters of your search, language of publication, subject area, business sector, example, manufacturing, geographical area. So there are many strategies for literature search terms, basic terms that describe your research, question, and objectives, and will be used to search the literary literature. How to generate search items. I won't stay there for long. Okay, how to record your literature, making notes. For example, in this webinar, maybe you are taking notes, bibliographic details, summary of content, supplementary information. All of this. Plagiarism, you must avoid it. You must avoid it. You must avoid plagiarism at every cost. Even though they don't catch you, plagiarism is very bad. It can create more problems than everything. And plagiarism could be copying section of material from one or more source text, supplying proper documentation, including the full reference, but leaving out quotation marks, thus giving the impression that the material has been paraphrased rather than directly cut. Paraphrasing material from one or more sources without supplying appropriate documentation is not good. So plagiarism doesn't mean that you must create everything your own. It also means, but it means if maybe you are taking a part of this text I'm presenting, you must reference me that I got it from this guy. Okay. Let me finish. We still got 10 minutes. So I will stop this screen and take another one. 1 minute. Okay. Here we are talking about writing and presenting your project. Writing and presenting, because I think according to one question, it could be interesting for you. Okay. We have as outline undertaking writing, structuring project, writing report for different audiences, making the content clear and accessible, developing an appropriate writing style. I think that one is for everyone, being professional or academician. Undertaking writing, what does it mean? It means create time for your writing. Write when your mind is fresh. Find a regular writing place. Create a structure for your writing. Set goals and achieve them. Finish a writing session on a high point and provide a link to a new session. Ensure you keep multiple copies of your work. Get friends to read your work. We start by the end. In most of our office, sometimes we believe that we are too clever. We don't need people. So we don't have time to call people to come and read me. Calling a friend or a colleague to come and read your work doesn't mean that you are not intelligent. Sometimes it means that he can see something that you didn't, because when you are writing by your own, you can avoid many details. Take time for your writing and write when your mind is fresh. It's very important. Me personally, I like writing when everything is calm. Most of the time, I will lock myself in a room or in an office. And the moment I appreciate the most is the night. You need to create a structure for your writing. What do you like? Some people will say, okay, it's better to start by introduction. Some other people say, okay, no, let me develop my hypothesis, my thesis first before moving. So it depends, but you need to have a structure. You need to make a critical path for your writing. Set goals and achieve them. Maybe you can say, if I remain on Wilson question, you have 4 hours. Say that in 1 hour, you need to review all your literature. Second hour, you need to have been, you need to write, let's say, 2 pages an hour, so that at the end you have all your works. So create time for your writing. This is what I was telling to Wilson. Gunshot. Yeah, mine here is within a year, within month. You can do your gunshot for 4 hours. So I was trying to give an example now. Remember when we were in school, they were saying that, okay, take 10 minutes or 20 minutes to read your topic first before starting writing anything. And then you can start working on the raw paper. You even remember in school, they were saying before 1 hour, no one is allowed to leave the class, even though you are a genius. Why? Because even for work that frame time is for 2 or 3 or 4 hours, You must manage your time. You must manage your time. This is mandatory. You can do it. Create a structure for your writing. And A, find a critical article no longer than 2,000 words, which you like and have interest in the topic. For example, you want to talk about COVID, you need to find an article talking also about COVID. It will help you not to copy, but to see how to move. Read 10 times. Be familiar with each of the viewpoints. Try to rewrite this topic by yourself using the same viewpoint and data. Try to be familiar with the structure of this author. What I was telling you while taking the example of our examination in school. Plan B, find an essay on similar topic and study the structure of this essay. Same thing. Get friends to read your work. A good article could be understood by a person who are not familiar with your work, your research. Because your research is not only for academic, scientific like you. Also, someone can read it in another domain and maybe it will help him anyhow. So this is why you need to make it read by other people. And now try to imagine you are persuading a stranger who has no knowledge about your area, your research at all, accept your point through your article. If this stranger of your knowledge study area is able to understand your article, it means that everyone can understand your article. That's why also it's good. It's also good because a friend can help you to make some grammar correction. Structuring project report, linear analytic approach, traditional deductive theory testing approach, comparative approach, chronological approach, theory building approach. This is mostly for the thesis. Okay, the traditional structure of each writing, even a research of 4 hours. Abstract. On thesis book, abstracts will be like 1 page. But in a dissertation or in a short article you need to give to your hierarchy, abstract will also exist, but it will be maybe a sentence or a small paragraph in your introduction. You must have an introduction. That one is normal everywhere. Literature review, it could be like in the administration or organization. Sometimes here you need to remind the theory or the law that can be applied. Methodology, how are you going to do or find your result? Finding result, which solution are you going? How are you going to present them? Which result are you going to present? Discussion, conclusion. Because even to your hierarchy, you need to finish understanding a discussion and to give a solution. And this solution is the conclusion. Okay, maybe for hierarchy, no need to give references and bibliography, appendices. But this structure is not different from what you are supposed to do every day. You will just need to adapt it to your environment. Also have comparative approach. I'm not going to stay long for a year because this is more scientific. Same for chronological, those are theory. You already seen the structure. Okay. I think we are at 3 now, so I can even stop here if I need to follow the time frame. of my presentation. Okay, I don't know for those two last if I were so fast, but according to the quality of the attendant, I thought that it was not necessary to go on further details. But with this already, I'm happy that I even managed to reach this level, because it can give you a sight of what needs to be done to talk about research writing. So before entering your question, thank you first for your attention. Now, if you have question, I'm open and listening to you.